Police in Cleveland, Ohio, released new details today in a grisly murder case. At least 11 victims have now been found inside the home of a man convicted of attempted rape, a registered sex offender. Police say some of the corpses may have been there since 2005. Across the country, there are almost 700,000 registered sex offenders required to tell authorities where they live. In our closer look tonight, ABC's Pierre Thomas reports that tracking all of them is overwhelming. It's a virtually impossible job.
The question on everyone's mind in Cleveland today, how did a registered sex offender amass bodies in his home without anyone knowing?
28 years of being on this bench, this is, without question, the most serious set of allegations that I've ever faced.
And people are mad. And they're mad about this. I don't blame them. And I'm mad too.
The evidence suggests Anthony Sowell exploited a broken system. For starters, authorities failed to enlist the community's help to be on the lookout for signs of trouble. Sowell was a registered sex offender, but the law did not require authorities to knock on doors and notify his neighbors.
No one even knew about him being a predator. All right, that was, the system dropped the ball on that.
Across the country, a similar story.
The system that we have to do monitoring, supervision, follow-up once they return to the community is just overwhelmed.
In the Cleveland case, the county where Anthony Sowell lived is home to 3,400 other sex offenders, and there are just 8 officers to track them. And then there's the law. Sowell was required to check in with authorities every 90 days, and he did. Sheriff's deputies can make unannounced visits to his home to make sure he was still living there, which they did in September, but they could not go in.
We are not obligated or actually allowed under law to enter the offender's residence.
The fact is, sex offenders have constitutional protections like everyone else.
The same rights as you and I have, rights to privacy.
Last December, Sowell was accused of trying to rape a woman at his house. He was arrested, but his victim later dropped the charges. The sheriff's sex offender unit says they were never informed of the arrest. Sowell was left on the street. More and more women were disappearing. And as all too often the case, authorities never suspected a thing. Pierre Thomas, ABC News, Cleveland.
This Cleveland story is prompting some strong reactions. You can weigh in on sex offender laws by going to our blog, The World Newser, at abcnews.com.